like I came from poverty. My parents never had anything. When I was born, we were in a war. We were used to hide under the ground. So I have memories of us hiding under the slums of Mulago, and soldiers would bang on the door trying to take young boys or girls to war. I know what it means to have nothing, what it means to eat posho and beans every day. But Africans, we're not allowed to be vulnerable. Our parents don't teach us to be vulnerable. You scream, they're like, shut up. Hey, don't even. Some friends are emotional bullies. They just want to tear your confidence down so you can stop doing what you got to do. Intimidate you from stopping to do what you got to do. And sometimes being in a relationship and people become a bit domestically violent and emotionally abusive, then you start losing your confidence as a person.
Welcome back to the Rubasha Family episode. Now, guys, we have another special interview and a special guest. You guys know, and you've been coming here for a while, we always see the value in having amazing conversations, amazing guests, and everyone has value. Now, I've done a lot of research into your story and into your background, but I said, you know what, let me sit down here and really get to know you, because, you know, we have these things like social media, we have these platforms, even, you know, reading information, but you never really know someone's true story and their true essence and even what they've been through. So first of all, I'd like you to introduce yourself.
I thought you were going to introduce me. Because you've done a little bit of research. No. Well, I'm Suzan Matesi.
Guys, an amazing person with an amazing story. Just meeting you so far, the fact that you have taken your time out of your day, the fact that you've taken time out of your day to come see here, you know, with the Rubasha family, myself, it means a lot. So let's take it back from the very beginning before we get into everything. And I'm sure a lot of these people who are watching, are interested to see your story. So let's take it back from the very beginning, where it all started.
Where did it all start?
Yeah.
First of all, when you did your research, what did you find before we begin?
So I've seen you've been in a couple of films here in Australia. I believe the Seven Rings. I have them on the top of my head. The Seven Rings, or a title by that name.
Shangshin.
Yes, Shangshin. Yeah, I saw it was that type of movie. And then within the fashion industry, like, I was really impressed the awards that you won, like Fashion Icon of the Year.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, okay, within the fashion industry, an actress, you know, you're an author as well.
Yeah.
So it's just like, what I noticed when I looked into your story is you're a person with different facets. You know, you've been able to go into the industries that you've been in and be successful, you know, and for us within the African community, that's what it's all about. I want people, when I see you, I'm impressed with how you had a vision. You had something in your mind and you materialized that.
Yeah.
You know, not everyone can do that. And especially what we're talking about here in Australia, like, to do that as an African woman, you know, it's like the essence is here. And, you know, just again, looking at your hair, seeing, you know, when I spoke to Mom, she saw you at a fashion event. And so that was just really inspiring. And I was just like, I need to know this person's story, because at the end of the day, like, you know, someone may see you and they see the end product, but they don't see the process.
Exactly.
They don't see what you had to go through, what we don't see.
And I love that, because I talk about that in my book, The Immigrant That Found an Apologetic Voice. I wrote that book especially because people kept asking me, Suzan, how did you get where you are? And at the end of the day, I'm just like any other boy, any other girl who had immigrant parents who moved overseas, had the opportunity to be raised in Australia. And for me, being given that opportunity, I tried to make the most out of it. You know, like some people, like I came from poverty. My parents never had anything. My mom worked in Mulago Hospital. When I was born, we were in a war. We were used to hide under the ground. So, you know, President Museveni, Obote, and Amin were like fighting. So we were towards the end of that when I was born. So I have memories of us hiding under us in the slums of Mulago, hiding under this ground, and soldiers would bang on the door trying to take young boys or girls to war.
Wow.
You know, I have memories of that. You know, I didn't grow up in the best situation. You know, I grew up in the slums. Like, we used to play games, and I had never had Barbie dolls, you know, and until when my mom made some money, and later She sent me a doll, but I made my own dolls. I made my own toys. We created. We never had. I know what it means to have nothing. I know what it means to eat posho and beans every day. Eating the same food and only eating chicken on Christmas.
Wow.
I know what that life feels like. So for me, coming from such a background and having my mom left when I was 2. So I wasn't raised by my mom. I was raised by my aunties and sisters. I went from one auntie to the other because I miss my mom so much. They were trying to find someone to help me fill that void, So I never had that relationship. I remember when I came to Australia, I didn't even recognize my mom.
Really?
Because it was that long.
Yeah.
Until when I saw her and I was like, oh, that's mom. When my siblings ran to her, I was like, oh, that's mom.
So how many siblings do you have?
I've got 6.
Oh, wow.
We came here, 3 of us came together.
Okay, so 6 siblings. What order are you?
I'm the baby.
Oh, wow.
I'm the only one in the entertainment. Everyone's doing educational things that are amazing.
Yeah.
I'm the one doing the entertainment things that are hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was it like, like you said, take it back to even just where you grew up? Like, how was childhood like? I know you said you had...
It was quite, when you don't have anything, you're not looking, you're content. You're not looking for, I wish I had a baby doll, but I used what we had. Like we created, I remember boys in where we grew up, they used to make toy cars out of silvers, like, those African silvers, like recycled bottles, cups. I remember they used to give me hand downs from your older sister to the youngest. Like the only time you would have the best of the best is maybe like, even my birthday. I never celebrated my birthday, but my sister made sure every birthday she would see me, she'll buy me a burger, she'll sit with me and she'll make it so special. And I never forgot those memories. Like for me, I don't know, like when I came here, I saw opportunity. And I remember watching TV and I saw Masha Hines for the first time.
What show?
It was Idol.
Yes.
She was the judge on Idol.
Yeah.
And I remember when I saw that, I'm like, Black people can be on TV. When I was young, we had I remember for entertainment, my dad had like a small size of a shoebox television. It was black and white. And we would, all of us would gather, like 20 people, the neighbors, everyone. We're the only ones who had TV. And that depends if there is electricity, because we had road shading. You'll go and come back whenever you wanted to. Homework was under a lamplight. Like you come back from like school and you under your light and you have to do your homework so you pass, And I remember I would sit on that shoe and I'll see these films and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I want to be a star. I want to be in a movie. Oh my gosh. And I want to be a TV presenter. I used to see these African girls TV presenting. I'm like, I want to do that. And then that opportunity never happened for me when I was Africa. Came to Australia, I'm like, is there an opportunity like that? As I see Masha for the first time on TV, first Black person, I'm like, yeah, I can do that. Yeah. She gave me the hope to say Black people are welcomed on TV.
On TV. How old were you when you came to Australia?
11.
11?
11.
Okay, so how did that happen?
When I came to Australia.
Yeah.
Well, I was reuniting by my mom.
Okay.
So we didn't have, like I said, like my mom left me when I was 2. So I was rejoining with my mom.
Okay, so she left when you were 2. When did you realize there was a war? How old were you when the war broke out?
So during two, she left when I was around maybe 5. That's when she left because it was bad.
It was bad.
And they were looking for nurses to come to Australia. So that's how she got the opportunity to come to Australia. She was a nurse in Mulago Hospital. And she also sold stuff in the markets because I came from a polygamous family.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How did you seeing that, did that affect, or did you look at relationships in a different way?
I don't want that. I know what I don't want.
Okay. Why not?
I know. What do you mean, why not?
Like, what made you see that and say, I don't want this, or...
Because it doesn't add value. Like, I can ask you, are you in a relationship?
Yeah.
What kind of relationship is it?
Monogamous.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But why do you choose that?
Because to pour into one person, that's all the effort and the thing that I need. Like, imagine just spreading that out.
Exactly. And a lot of African families back home are like that. I don't know if you've been. Have you been?
I have. I've heard about it quite a lot.
It's quite common
Yeah,
in a lot
yeah.
of African countries, and it's the culture. It's also back in the days, it was all about how many cows, how many children. For them, they were thinking the mentality was different. So, and that can be such our parents' choices can be detrimental, kind of, to us, and that's why you need to work through those things. When we grow up and you come here, and you start realizing, oh my gosh, I thought that was the norm. Actually, no, things can be right. And we can live right. And you can love right. And you should honor your wife and, those things. And then you're like, oh my gosh, like your eyes open up. You see clearly, you know what I mean? And I think sometimes because because I remember there's a friend of mine who also comes from a polygamous family. And he was like, oh my gosh, I think I'm going to be polygamous. I don't care having all these guys. For me, I cannot invest in so many people. I'm not a serial dater. I got no time. I feel like every time you meet people, even like sitting here, I'm giving you my time. And I feel like I'm investing so much. You know what I mean? And that's what it takes. Like when you meet people, you see them, you're present. Can you imagine if you're doing that to 20 people a day? That is a lot. It takes away a lot from you. And also, you give yourself a lot. At the end of the day, you're like, why am I doing this? You know what I mean? What am I receiving from this? We just, what is this? Time is valuable. You never get it back. So you got to spend it with the people that cherish it and give it back to you, So you benefit from it and I think that's the best way. They always say, choose your people and give them the best time of your life.
Yeah.
You make memories.
Yeah, it's true. I found that interesting, even just you saying that. I'm like, wow, how much of seeing that would have, just even mentally, because like you said, you said it was a friend who they had a polygamous relationship with their parents, right?
Yeah, like he came from that. So he was telling me, you know what, Susan, sometimes I feel like I'm a copy of my dad. But when you're young, you copy what you've seen.
Your conditioning.
It's where you've lived. It's where you start copying things like that.
Your environment.
But you can unlearn those things and you can be better and you can make the choices for yourself. And that's why I say all this in my book. Like some of us come from trauma. I talk about trauma and triggers. You could be coming from a place where there was a lot of war. You're used to where there is war, fights, and you have to fight back, or you saw tribes fighting. So you come here and you start modeling that in any situation. Or you play the victim part. We are all like, of course, like you can, I'm not saying that things can be fair, but you can choose to innovate your mind to see different. Does that make sense? You can choose to say, I don't want to model my life. If you're struggling with something and let me say, as Africans, we all have gone through so much trauma, whether it's childhood trauma or family trauma or social, cultural, depending on where you grow up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some people came on ship. Some people were refugees escaping something. We all came for different reasons as immigrants, but we have the responsibilities as immigrants to better ourselves and to see the best out of where we are. You're not in Africa anymore. You're not in a war zone anymore. Now you've been given a chance. What do you want to do? What do you want to make out of it? What can you do for yourself? Find that self-love and learn things from the past. If you didn't like what was modeled before, then you be the role model you want to see. To you, to your future children, if your dad was a drunkard, do you still want to be just, you know what I mean? Like, what do I want for myself? And that's why my book is called The Immigrant, the Found Unapologetic Voice, where you're like, I'm tired of apologizing. I'm tired of apologizing for the mistakes my parents made. I'm tired for apologizing for the things I can't change. You can't change the past, but you can change who you want to be today by the choices you make, And I'm not saying I've made the best choices. I'm just learning and trying and growing. For me, my book was so therapeutic, was that I confronted things in my childhood, confronted things that I didn't know I had to deal with. But, you learn that self-love, you learn to love yourself, you learn to appreciate yourself, you learn to love you, spend time with you and be like, I love me. I'm awesome, man. I'm going to do the best, man. I woke up like, I'm a boss bitch. I'm going to conquer today. I'm going to be in those newspapers. You manifest things, you speak things, you pray, you meditate, you breathe. You write down your vision board, you write down your goals. What do you want to see? Why do we come to a place where we have opportunities and not make the most out of it? It doesn't have to be America, the land of all dreams. Australia could be it.
I know you guys are enjoying the video. Please take time to have a look at Suzan's book. Link in the description. Get to reading.
And we try. You just try. Give it a chance.
Yeah.
As long as you've tried. It doesn't have to be, you know what I mean? Throw yourself in the water. Let's see what happens. Just give it a go. At least you say, I tried. Let me try something else.
Yeah.
At least I've tried. But don't say, I don't want to try this. I don't want to play soccer. Or it's only for the light skin. No. You could be the it moment. You could be the next Ronaldo. You could be. And those opportunities are there.
Yeah. I've resonated with so many things he said. I know that was a lot. And it's like, I want to pack down so many things.
Yeah.
Like, number one, I think you mentioned it earlier when you said, you come from trauma.
Yeah.
So in your mindset, you're in a survival mode, like in terms of the stress. And when you're going through your daily situations, your mind, it's triggered as survival mode, worrying about the next thing. How is this?
You don't have to though worry.
Exactly. But what's so powerful is I am a creator of my reality. I'm not a victim. So even though my 3D senses or what I've been through in the past, no, this is who I am. This is what I feel. And you walk into that spirit.
Yeah.
I am not a victim. How many people are victims? Oh, I'm like this because of this person. I'm like this because of this.
Exactly.
No. And I got to a point in my life when I was going through things and I have a good day, I'm in a good mood. If I have a bad day and I'm in a bad mood, and I looked at that and I said, no, I'm a victim like that.
Yeah.
I need to be the creator. So it's amazing how you went into that spirit, and from that young age, that vision, you saw it, you believed it. But when you said also, when you came here, you saw opportunity.
Yeah.
What gave you that indication like, okay.
Okay, so I came and I saw that, my parents, obviously, my mom is a nurse, and I was in school and I was in nursing all my science subjects or whatever.
What age is this?
Yeah.
What age?
We're in high school.
Okay.
High school here. In high school, I went to Delaney College and, and then my art teacher's like, Suz, you're killing it in drama. You're killing it in arts. You could do fashion design. I didn't know you could do that. And this is something I could tell every parent that's listening. And if you've got Black children and they've got a creative juice in them and they're creatives, they want to act, they want to do creative things, I think give them the opportunity and the platforms to do things like that, because you don't know, because sometimes our parents want us to be lawyers, and I get it because they've struggled so much, they've put in so much. They want us to be lawyers, doctors, A, B, C, D, F, G, anything that makes money so you can send back home, take care of your family, take care of your village, take care of everyone. It's the responsibility we carry as immigrant families or children. It's our responsibility. You earn that title without even realizing it. Mm-hmm. Your job has to be enough for you to, and there's nothing wrong taking care of your parents, but it's that expectation you carry because you care. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well, with maybe Caucasians, they'll be like, I'm out, mom, peace, But for us, we carry that burden. And it's not a bad burden, you know what I mean? But it's how you say, I don't have to be a doctor. I could do, if you've got a great voice or your child is singing, then let them sing. Give them the opportunity to try it. If it doesn't work out, give them the opportunity to try something else. Does that make sense? How many subjects in high school we did that I don't even remember, I'm not using right now. Let's be honest, but so, and I remember when I was young, I came when we were the only Black people in my street, to be honest. In my school, it was me and my sister with the Black people. I kid you not, you could not see a lot of Black people. it was so rare. High school, uni, always you stand out, you know. I remember my friends, I wrote this in my book. I said, when my friends went to schoolies, my mom told me, you gotta do like a course or something, like do something. You're going to Gold Coast for what, excuse me, what? To do what? To study something. Every African parent can relate, you know. So I went and I was looking for work, and no one could hire me. No one, not even a retail place, because you're African, you don't have experience. Back then it was like, you don't have experience, you don't understand the Australian culture. I kid you not. The only job I got was the printing factory in Lidcombe, and I used to taught myself how to drive. I started driving when I was 15. I just wanted to learn. Started driving. I would drive to the factory and I would print those magazines. We were printing fashion magazines. We had Vogue magazines,
Wow.
magazines. And I remember going through the magazines and I was like, one day that would be me. People will read about me. My clothes will be in here. I'll be the designer I want to see. And I would look at it and I'd be like, what am I doing? I would look at I'm in the factory, you know, dry hands, picking, packing, carrying boxes as a young child, like young.
How old were you at this point?
I was like 15, 16, carrying these boxes, just making some money, holiday money, you know. And I was like, oh my gosh, and I wanted to buy a new car. And I was like, oh, why can't I be on TV? Why can't I be in this magazine? Why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? You know, and God knows in the future, you now read about yourself and you're like, oh, I manifested this. And I'm not saying it's a power of manifestation, but don't estimate humble beginnings. Don't, it's not how you start, it's how you finish, It's how you finish. Don't worry about if you're in the factory. Don't worry about, but as long as you have a dream and you hold on to your dream and you believe in that dream, anything is possible. I don't think I've arrived. I can talk about my experiences, the things I've gone through, as an immigrant of, Black parents, and what I've gone through, the racism, the rejection. As an actor, you get rejected 24/7. Your job is not to your job is to audition every day. You can audition like 100 times. To get one role out of 100 is a half, 0.5. Like, that's like the probability of that is like, oh my gosh, hallelujah. The rejection you get, that can mess up your confidence, who you are. You start asking yourself, don't they just see me? Can't they see me? As an immigrant and like someone who's in, like, people would say, oh, Suzan's a celebrity, whatever you see me, whatever title, I don't care about titles, but whatever you see me with an immigrant influence or whatever you see, sometimes you find yourself in rooms with important people, and sometimes you sit next to important people and they'll only write about Caucasian people. They'll never write about a Black person. Those things also happen, and sometimes you question yourself, am I good enough? And I talk about all those things like being significant, owning the room. When you walk in the room, you own the room. Because sometimes you can walk in a room that has a lot of Caucasians, people of influence, people that have done more than you, bullies. Sometimes you find people who kind of racist, but they're not racist, but you can sense it in the way they see you. You can sense it. And how you own the room and own yourself. So for me, I've always worked on myself. I've always worked on myself. I know me. When something's not good for me, I walk away. You pick your own fights. Not every fight has to be picked. You'll find trolls, bullets.
And you see that value you have in yourself. So also you gave another important message as well, especially when it comes with African parents supporting our children, And it's funny, my dad also, we had this conversation and he says, back home in Africa, and even here, things like sports, African parents see it, it's there's no money in that, stop it, go get a job, go to university,
Exactly.
And it's just like when you said, if you have a child, support them in what they want. Why, as African parents and people in general, I used to hear when I was younger, but what's your plan B? why do I need a plan B? If this is my plan A, this is my vision, this is what I want to do. There's the plan B is doubt, is fear.
Exactly.
Look at who I am. Look at the essence of where I come from. So I think that's an important message that you were saying. So when you started getting into drama class, you talked about that earlier, and it's so crazy because I did drama when I was in school, and now going through this content creation, I want to be an actor. I wouldn't say I want to be an actor, sorry. I think that's something in the future that I'd love. I've always been a fan of good movies. You know, the actors, Leo DiCaprio. I watch a lot of the mafia movies. I love, I just love being able to, because it's not the easiest thing to do.
No,
it's passion, it's dedication. Yeah. So yeah, how did you get into all that? And I want to find out so much more about that.
Well, practically, walking in through the mall, city, I get stopped by this Caucasian woman, Lisa. I'll never forget Lisa. She owned an agency called Coffee Colored Characters. And I was like looking for coffee dark people. It was a film called Wolverine. They were looking for specific people. And she found me. She told me, join my books. At first I was like, hey, a white woman. I'm only black. I said, what do you want from me? What if I disappear? You're young. You're like, I don't even know you. What do you want from me? Because your parents always give you that fear of not trying, fear of not, I had that. But then at the same time, I'm like, what's wrong if I try? So I joined that agency. I auditioned for Wolverine. I got it. And I had like a featured extra role, working next to will.i.am.
Really?
Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds.
How old were you at this point?
Oh, I can't remember. I was young.
Okay, yeah.
20 something. Oh. 18, I don't know. I was young.
So you got the audition for Wolverine. How did that?
I auditioned. They called me back. It was between two people, and they took both of us.
What did you have to do in the audition?
Can't remember.
Oh, you can't remember.
But we had to be like milers in that African.
Okay.
Have to play the role. Once they give you the script, you always have to understand what the script is, understand what is required from you, and just make it the right choices from the script. Acting is not just... Acting is one of the hardest things because you have to convince someone. Like if I was to act like you, I need to study you. I need to understand how you carry yourself, how you sit, when you talk, when you look, when you touch your glasses, when you smile, everything. So for you to imitate something and create something that's very authentic, that when I look on screen, I will never doubt that that's not you. That is a hard job.
Imagine.
For you to cry and move people's hearts. People sometimes are like, oh, you're an actor, you're going to just put it on. No, we don't like being our characters all the time. No one wants to be that. It's depressing. You play the character, you drop it, you stay yourself, But we get the opportunity to step into people's shoes and portray the realness and the authentic self of who those people are and bring them to life, for people to understand, empathize, and relate to those people. That's what acting is. If you want to become an actor, to be like Leonardo DiCaprio, that's a good goal, but that's not it. You have to have passion for it. You have to love it, because it's tiring, because you audition all the time, and sometimes you don't get a yes. Someone will tell you that sucks. Leave, It's not the easiest job, but once you get the role and you're in it and you're consistent, and the fruits of it, we've seen it. We've seen big actors, the fruits of it, the Tom Cruises, of today, the Denzels, like those, the essence of that is like, oh my gosh, it takes skill, takes being humble, takes prayer, takes rehearsal, takes remembering your lines, takes preparation. And that's what people don't see. And sometimes you come on it, people see, oh, you did this, but there's a journey behind everything. And there is hard work, there is tears, there is processes, there is things that people don't see, that sometimes you look at a final thing and you judge, oh, she's this, she's that, but you have no idea.
You haven't seen the process. It's crazy when you talk about acting. I was looking... So Jamie Foxx, there was a movie he played, I think it was Ray Charles?
Yeah, Ray Charles.
Do you know he put himself blind physically, like they had put something on his eyes. He made himself physically blind for 16 hours a day. You talk about the dedication, and when you were just saying that, it was like hitting me. I'm like, wow. There was another movie, Leonardo DiCaprio. There was a movie when he was like in the snow, like a caveman or something like that. When they were on set, after set, he said, no, I'm gonna sleep here. It was in like outside in a cold, I need to embody this role. You know what I mean? So it's just like the dedication. So even just to see you in that art, it's an art.
It is an art, like you master it. Like also like Will Smith in his movie Emancipation or something like that. And there was a guy, he acted, his co-actor, he was a Caucasian man.
Hey, let me tell you a story. One day I decided to take a family holiday and I left my mobile data off for about 5 minutes. I was charged over $500 when I saw my phone bill.
What?
I could not believe it. But the good news is, here at the Rubasha Family podcast, we're all about effective solutions. How can we make great decisions, have that freedom, be able to give value to your life so you can learn from my experience? This video is sponsored by Airalo. Now, Airalo is the first eSIM company that gives you a SIM card digitally from anywhere in the world. So you can avoid those high roam charges. So you can now travel with freedom. You can travel with enjoyment, knowing that you are covered, knowing that you have everything within you. This is fantastic news, guys, and we're so proud to be able to provide and add value to your life. No matter where you are in the world, an eSIM digitally. No more high roam charges. What are you waiting for? Hit the link in the description and it'll take you to get your eSIM today.
So just talking about also like in the film Emancipation by Will Smith. He was working with a Caucasian actor, I can't remember his name, and he said this man stayed on the camp because it was about slavery, and he was the main slavery guy. He refused to talk to Will Smith from the start of the movie or engage him at all. They only met on set and he was already in character. He was a mean master. And he said until the movie finished, when they finished the wrap the last day, he went to Will Smith and said, hello, this is my name. And Will Smith is like, hi. And then he's like, nice meeting you. And then he left. He only saw him when the premiere was. And he said, I've never forgotten that. This man was in character. He stayed on the camp. He embodied his character to the max. That's why the movie was successful, because he made it so believable. He believed it. He didn't want to break character. He didn't want to be friends with Will Smith because he was not meant to be nice to him.
Yeah.
And you see, those are the choices, the bold choices actors have to make. And for you to put yourself in such uncomfortable decisions. So you see a film like Tom Cruise, but he always talks about how he does his own stunts. He jumps off the building. It's crazy.
Really?
Yeah. He jumps off the building. It's risky, but at the end of the day, he creates a good movie, and that's why they are amazing, and that's why they earn what they earn, because it's taken process, takes years, takes sacrifices, takes committing to that thing, for you to produce art, to produce a masterpiece where everyone is like, oh my gosh. Upwards. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny when you talked about Tom Cruise. I went to a movie. I think it was one of his latest ones.
Top Guns?
Yeah, Top Gun. And when I was watching the movie, I was just like, it was so weird because I was seeing it from a different lens. I'm like, look at the art, the process. Like, you can see he's been doing these movies for about 20, 30, 40 years. And he still looks
amazing.
It still looks the same.
But like as an actor, you are your own brand. It's the same as like, influencer or model. You are your own brand. Mm-hmm. So, and I also talk about, in my book, I talk about, finding, like I talk about happiness and what makes you happy. And also like some of us shy away from, like, sometimes happiness means I'll take care of my body. I'll sacrifice particular things. You know what I mean? Because if you have a role a few days ago, you need to look the part. It's competitive. He's an older person. So he's competing with the younger people. Like, you got to keep up with the times, be timeless, be open, stay healthy for yourself, for your future children, you know? Like, I mean, we can always have fun here and there, but you have generations that looking up to you and be like, yo, you know? And just, you feel good. God damn, you feel good when you feel, you know, and you feel like, you know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with shape or size or whatever. Whatever you are beautiful. Listen, you are beautiful the way you are. But always think about self-love, what makes you happy, how do you feel, you know, how do you want to be in the next year? Like, whatever rocks your boat, you do that, you know. But you are your own brand at the end of the day, in particular roles. There's some people don't have to worry about that, but there is a responsibility. There is also discipline and self-motivation when it comes to people like actors or creators, or, you know, that consistency and that you showing up for yourself, you know, depending on other people to tell you, hey, do the content, or you kind of like, you know, push yourself and show up and be there.
So let's talk about your first ever film in Australia. How did that come up with that?
I told you about that one. That's the lead?
Yeah, the lead.
Like getting a lead. It's as a Black African Australian, it's so hard to get work as an actor and to be lead. So for me, the first lead I did was a horror film.
Yeah, that was really.
It's a horror film, and it was called Lady Frita. It's not yet out. It's still in post-production and movies. Sometimes people think when you make a movie, I'm going to be a star tomorrow. Man, movies take years. What you're seeing is the aftermath of some movies may take 10 years, some may take 2 years, some take 5 years. You filmed years back. You're even on 2 things, you've forgotten about it. And they tell you, oops, it's out. You know, you're like, okay, now I can celebrate this. But that was my first lead role. I've always had supportive roles and things like that. And it took time, commitment to that. And I think in that movie, I play... when I auditioned for it, it was a boy and a girl. And that's what I auditioned for, you know. But when I got there, they switched it to a girl. And I'm like, now, Jesus, you know how I be. Like, what am I doing right now? And I was like, but this is a good opportunity and stuff like that. It worked out well with the producer and my co-actress, and we worked it out well. I can't say much about the movie because it's still in post-production, but that was my first lead. A lot of rehearsals. We would start filming from sometimes 6 a.m. to 3 a.m. in the morning. Sometimes we start 6 p.m. and finish 5 a.m. In the morning. Long hours, long days. You sleep, you cry, you fight, man. Making a movie takes a village. And it's not for the faint-hearted or for the divas. You only have a moment to be a diva. It goes for hours. Until you're like, Nicole Kidman, be a diva. But like, movies take a lot of
time.
Patience.
What was that feeling like? You're on a movie set, you're the lead.
Oh, man.
What was that feeling like? Like, this is something I remember being of 2 years of age, dreaming about this on TV. Like, what was that feeling?
Great. I felt great. And I was like, may there be more of this. I want to be a lead in TV series and in film. More. I want more. I've not arrived. Most people may look at me and they're like, oh, she's successful. And I appreciate it. But I have a vision and I have a goal of where I need to be and where I want to be. You can never arrive to success, but we can be grateful and have gratitude, you know, for the opportunities that come our way. We don't bring them, you know. I'm grateful that God opens those doors for me and I'll walk through them. But like, I'm always grateful, but I know you can never arrive where you need to be. And I want to do more. I want to see myself in Hollywood doing more films and impacting change and creating opportunities for other African people like me, and for people to look and say there is opportunities for all of us in this entertainment world, you know, and you know, yeah.
Powerful. And I think one thing you said, gratitude, that's a superpower. You know, when you're grateful, it's the ultimate state of receivership. You don't want anything else.
Yeah.
I'm grateful. I feel for this moment. So I think that's very, very powerful. Have you ever been in a relationship during acting roles, things like that?
As in a relationship with people?
Like, no,
My actors, the fellow actors?
no, like a boyfriend.
I've been in a relationship before.
And what's that like? Being an actor, being an actress. This is my life, and you're with someone sharing that.
Yeah, like, well, my last relationship, I remember, was tough. You always have to kind of like compromise to make people feel happy, downplay things, to just please people's egos, and kind of like dim your light to just make them feel confident, follow their dreams. And sometimes, like, there's a time I stopped even loving fashion because my partner at the time didn't like me doing what I needed to do, but he enjoyed the events when we'd go, and he enjoyed all that, but he didn't like when the attention was on me, and that wasn't healthy at all. And sometimes being in a relationship and people become a bit domestically violent and emotionally abusive, then you start losing your confidence as a person. I'll say for any young person, any young girl, don't stay in relationships with people who are narcissistic, people who haven't figured out what they want, people who emotionally abuse or are quite physically abusive. Like, you don't need that. You're young. When you look back, you'll be like, well, was I even really in love? Really?
Why do you feel you stayed when you experienced those?
Because when you're young, you feel like we are the it couple. When you're young, you think, man, the world, like, we cool, we cute, Everyone likes us and we so cute. And we're like, no, you ain't. In that moment, you're in that moment. And you cannot, I'll also say, I don't disregard anyone's feelings, because feelings are real. It doesn't matter if someone's going through, let me say, I have a headache and you have a headache. We all have different pain thresholds. I can't dismiss your headache. We need to acknowledge those emotions. I'm in pain. I'm unhappy. I feel like this. What do I need to do for myself? Because remember, like, you go through relationships, like your first boyfriend. If you're lucky, some people are lucky, they meet their sweethearts when they're so young, and it works out, But as a man and as a girl, I am advising you, work on yourself. Always work on yourself so you bring the best version of yourself to the relationship. Be the best version of yourself. Like, work on yourself mentally. If you don't feel a certain way, why do you feel like that? And don't dismiss feelings. If you're upset, why am I upset? What's causing this? What are my triggers, And if I'm upset, do I go with a punch? Because sometimes we mirror things we've seen before in the past, or we've seen somewhere, As young kids, our brains are like picking things. We always like pick. What works, Because this is what these things, if we don't know our weaknesses, they will be our downfall when we grow up. They'll put you in a situation where you get fame. And then they'll label you as a wife beater or a violent person. People are quick to label Black people as so-and-so. And this is a message to a Caucasian or a Black person. Like, it's always good to know yourself. Know what pisses you off. Know how you deal with it. If I'm upset, what are my coping mechanisms? Do I breathe through it? Do I work out? Do I take a walk? Substance abuse is not the best. It only suppresses it. And then there is that, that kind of like, and I'm not saying don't have a glass of wine, girl. You better have a glass of wine, because I'll have a champagne any day, okay? I love bubbles. But I'll say, don't overdo things. Know your excess, know your maximum. For me, that's my advice. I don't have judgment on whoever does what. But if you want to stay in it, it's quick to get into this successful, famous world, but it's hard to stay in it. Because there's a lot of things that are trying to tear you down or kick you out. It's this, the mission, the goal is to stay in it. and thrive. We can all get in, but how do you maintain and still be relevant and still be impactful and still get the job? Everything around you is fighting you. Yourself, the world, your family, your relatives, everyone. But how do I compose my mind and say, this is my goal and I'm going to stay in it because I believe in it?
Powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful. Even my own mind,
Yeah.
But I feel also what's powerful as well, when you can get control of your mind, and that's when everything else flows.
And for me, in my book, I talk about mental state. When you're upset, like it's so good to have. I love solitude. I love when I sit with myself and I listen to my thought, my heart, my emotions, and I walk through it all. Some people, therapy works for them, but sometimes find your safe place. I talk about safe places you go to where you vent. Just, you know what? This pissed me off. I just need to let it out. Don't ever let things that upset you, just suppress it. Because one day you'll blow up, you'll burn out. Little things will trigger those things and you will just, you're like, where did this explosion come from? I'm not even like that. Because you bottled out so many things that you've disagreed, the things that you've resented, and we all go through that, you know what I mean? And
hey, I have fantastic news for you. The Rubasha Family podcast is proud to announce that we have partnered with WorldRemit. Now, as a diaspora family, African Australian, we have our loved ones back home. We want to feel connected with our people, whether we're sending money back home to create our family legacy, building generational wealth, or we're connecting with our loved ones, birthday parties, whatever the situations is. We always want efficient and effective ways for us to be able to send money directly, straight away, for the people that we love or the projects that we're funding. So we have some fantastic news for you. For the link in the description, it's going to sign you up with WorldRemit. And not only that, even better news, guys, watch this. Once you send over $100, you will have $15 put into your WorldRemit account immediately. So make sure when you click the link in the description, it's going to take you to sign up with WorldRemit. Not only that, it's going to ask you to use a referral code. You punch in that referral code and that will give you $15 as soon as you send over 100. Now back to the video.
And we all Africans, but Africans, we're not allowed to be vulnerable. Our parents don't teach us to be vulnerable. You scream, they're like, shut up. Hey, don't no, I don't want to see it. Don't talk about your feelings. Don't say, Mom, I'm not happy today. I don't like when you or daddy argue. We can't talk about things like that. But then we need to learn to find our place. And that's okay. Because our parents also went through their own generational things, the generational pains they had to endure from generations to generations. They're just mirroring things they learned, and they're just doing their best. So you give grace.
You learn empathy.
Yeah. You just gotta understand and love them through their pain, failures. They're not the best, but you acknowledge it. And I'm like, I get it.
I get it,
Mom, and I get it, Dad, and I love you. It may not be the perfect choices for me, and I'm glad I get to see you guys do that, and that's okay. But I don't want that for myself. But I understand, because that's family. Whether it's not perfect or imperfect, family is family. You just love them, You just love, even when you don't understand. But when you have a vision and a goal, you also need to understand sometimes family will get in your way, but you've got a good family. Like, your parents are one of the most supportive individuals I've ever met in the African community ever. Your mom, like, man, I just gotta say, Rose is to heart. She's been consistent. Doesn't matter, she'll cheat anyone out, like, from a distance. She'll remind you, I see you. Man, that her heart, and I love her. And I genuinely love her for who she is, for believing in her boys and pushing you guys, and she always, she just wants the best, whether it's soccer, whatever. She, such a spirit for a mom to take on is huge, But she also cheers up other people. And sometimes in this nation we're in, you won't get cheered on by your own Black people, and your cheerleaders may be Caucasians because they just support you. If they love something, they'll be like, hey, we love that. Sometimes your friends may not even understand why you're doing a podcast, as if anyone's going to listen. Of course people will listen. Even if it's you impact one person, you are making a change, and I'm so proud of you. They don't say that.
Thank you. And so many amazing things to pick on. How did you meet my mom, by the way?
I can remember that a long time. When I was so young, I remember I came to her house and I had a barbecue. And she's never forget, but she's always been so supportive. Like we took different parts, obviously. But just seeing you around, and she's so present with just seeing people who are doing amazing things. Like the amount of Kenyans that I know, I think she's the only one that's always been kind of like cheering me from the side. She's like, she can see you on a field running, and she'll be the one screaming, you go, you, that is rare, like so selfless, so giving, and such a spirit, obviously, like, God will bless her, because you need to hear that. You need to know you're doing great. Everyone needs to know you're doing great.
Like, even just to say to someone, I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you. Like words like that. You're doing great. Keep going. Like little words. We need to learn that to be, and sometimes you may not have cheerleading. Like there's so many times in my industry I felt alone and I didn't have anyone cheering me on. And I had to be my best cheerleader. And that's where I come down to, if you believe in your vision, sometimes family may not understand it. Sometimes people may question it. Sometimes family may be like, I get it, but I don't really get it. African parents, if you have parents that get it, great, but sometimes we come from different backgrounds, different spaces. But if you've got your vision, your goal, you stick to it. Believe it. If you see it, nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. The power is within you. You can do anything. You can move mountains. You can do anything. I'm telling you, if you see it, the goal is to see it, visually see it. Because once you see it, the rest will just come to you. Just like you saw this, you spoke about it, and you're doing it. And those are the little things, little steps, Yeah.
Yeah, you see it, you embody it, you become it, and like you said, nothing's possible. But even when you said, like, when it comes to family, even me, like, chasing my dreams, see, I've always been, like, very young, like my mom. I've really taken on her personality and that spirit.
Yeah.
So I've always been vocal about my dreams.
Yeah.
I'll never forget, I was in high school and I told a kid, I'm going to be on TV playing for the Socceroos. And then this kid looked at me, and it's like, I'll never forget that feeling. He was mad. Like, how do you have the audacity to say, and I'm like 14 years old at this time. So I didn't understand why. And I'll never forget that feeling. But I just kept going, and I had that dream. And then you meet other people, you meet family, and they look at you like, yeah, we get what you're doing, but, go to university, go do something with your life. You meet people like that. But like you said, I have empathy. Now I look at life and I say, no, that's coming from the way you've been dealt with and some of your insecurities. And I love you, but you're projecting, but I have empathy for you. And I think for us to really move on in life, and a step I've had to take is learning how to forgive. Like you said, I look at my parents or whoever, I love you. Even if it's a past relationship, whatever, it's like I have empathy and I can forgive. And once I forgive,
you release it.
I love myself so much.
Exactly.
And I see you as myself. We have that same essence. So I think that's really, really powerful that you talked
Honestly,
about that.
like forgiveness is the biggest gift you can give yourself. And you're not doing it for the other person, you're doing it for you. You're releasing it. It's freedom. Once you're free, you're like, listen, I could sit in the same room. I can know you did something wrong to me. You did the worst thing to me, and I can sit and face you and be okay. It doesn't mean I have to engage with you because you're trifling, but I can sit with you and smile.
And smile.
Because I ain't holding anything. I just know that when a snake comes, it's a real snake.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I'm not holding grudges. I'm past that. Yeah, you learn, you see. And also choosing, like one thing else I talk about in my book, The Immigrant That Found an Apologetic Voice by Suzan. Look at me doing plugs, yo. That is so shady. But honestly, I talk about choosing your friends. I talk about the people-pleasing friends, the destiny friends. I talk about the leeches. Some people leech around you and leeches can be confusing because they will leech with the right purpose, but they're leeching to steal and to get everything that you have because they want to be you. The people pleasers are the people that will just please you, but in the end of the day, they don't mean well for you. And you know what's the good thing about it with the people pleaser? They get burnt out. You can't please for so long. You start crashing down, and sometimes knowing what kind of a friend you are to even yourself. Am I good to myself? Am I over-pleasing? What am I? What is me? To people. When people see me, what am I? And also working out things like that. It will help you be unapologetic to yourself without seeking nothing and to be like, this is me, listen. You like it or not, but this is me. And the right people will come along. The wrong people will chase themselves because they can't handle it. They can't handle your glory. They can't handle your light. And when people don't want to stay, when they see you doing your goals and pursuing your career, let people go. Some people and friendships will come in your life, and all of us go through that. When you're young, sometimes you feel like, oh my gosh, I got my bestie. Oh my gosh, we've done high school. Great. Yeah. And you go through seasons in life and friends will change constantly. And sometimes it's okay. Sometimes you have seasons where you just have like 1 or 2 friends. Sometimes you just have 3. Sometimes you have 1. That's okay. They'll come. But you be intentional. You pick your crowd. You pick your tribe. Pick people who are doing their own thing. They're confident. They're not trying to covet you. They're not trying to steal you. They're not trying to tear you down. Some friends are emotional bullies. They just want to tear your confidence down so you can stop doing what you got to do. Intimidate you from stopping to do what you got to do. But you know what? If you got your vision, always look up. Look up, not down. People say a lot of stuff. People may say this. You may see numbers. Sometimes you can compare to numbers. How many people are liking? How many people are this? How many people? That's okay. Doesn't matter. One person saw it. That's great. That means that one person will tell another person. And the other person will tell another person. And it will go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think another important thing I'm also learning, and just even having this conversation, is like, when it comes to environment or picking friends or people, I don't even see color anymore.
No.
Because you could be black, but you don't have we're the same skin color, but we don't have the same ethics, the same morals, the same principles, the same values.
Yeah.
So I don't care about what color you are, what's your spirit, like the essence, and I connect with that.
You
know what I mean?
connect with the soul and heart. When you meet people, you don't see color.
Yeah.
You see the individual, you see the soul, the kindness. One thing I'll say is how you treat me. My first impressions of you will tell me who you are. When I met you and you showed me gratitude, you showed me kindness, you smiled, you remembered me, you reached out, you're like, oh my gosh, Suzan, that's what I want to be a friend. I don't care if you're orange, brown, yellow. I don't care. You see me, I see you. Like some of my best friends, my best friends are all Caucasians. Best companies I have, and I have guy friends and female friends, but they cheer you on. And it doesn't matter who your best friend ends up being. As long as you get each other, you encourage each other, you support each other, you're there for each other. That's what true friendship is. To the essence, you call me on your worst day, and you tell me off when I'm being an idiot, and you're like, no, don't give up on that. No, do this. Or stay away from this person. And you can take each other's crap. He'll call you out on this, and you call it out on that, and you call it out on that, and you're like, okay, now that's a friend. Because you trust them. They can see your weakness, and they will say, babe, don't do that. That doesn't work for you. Or, hey, are you good? They check on you. They're intentional. You don't have to talk every day, but they will check on you during the week. They're like, hey, how is your podcast going? Man, who are you interviewing today? Hey, I had an idea. Have you thought of that? They invest in your career. They want to see you do good, and friends are hard to, it's hard. It's a difficult thing. And I know some of you out there, you're like, oh, I don't even have those friends. It's a journey. We don't all have them. And sometimes you get them when you're old or young. Who cares? It's a process.
Yeah.
Just find the right people. Don't be desperate. Don't overplease. You end up in the wrong group of friends and it will lead you the rust. They say, don't throw your pals to pigs or else they'll trash them.
There you go.
The essence of what you have is precious. It's like pearls. Pearls are one of the most expensive things, true pearls. Like it's expensive. It's like diamonds. You can't just give it to anyone. It's special, and that's who you are. You are special. You are pearl. You are diamond. And whoever has you has to cherish you, value you, love you, see you, and you're grateful. Like when I pray for my friends, I'm grateful for my friends, and I want the best for them. You wish the best for them.
Amen. That's so true and so powerful. Just before we wrap up, I just want to thank you so much. This has been an amazing conversation.
It's too deep.
Very deep, huh?
Yeah.
And there's so many levels that I think we can go to. Like I believe we barely touched the surface, but I just think it's just powerful. Honestly, like this conversation has been amazing, and just to see your story, what you've been able to learn going through this, there's so many things I can relate with, like, and yeah, it's just powerful. So I want to thank you so much. Let's talk a little bit about your book, because also with all the other things you've done, to write a book is not easy.
Yeah.
To get out all of the things. And I think it's interesting how you say it's kind of like therapy, because now you're dealing with things that, did I even think about? Did I deal with? So talk us a little bit about the books that you've...
Well, the first book I wrote was Unapologetically Black, and that was a letter to myself, my younger self. And I felt like it was young experiences that I encountered. And then I felt like
Hey guys, I know you're enjoying this video, but I got some exciting news for you. If you're like us here at the Rubasha Family podcast, and like myself, we all about drink, we all about traveling in style. Now this video is brought to you by Booking.com. Now we all know when it comes to holidays, when it comes to choosing a destination and having the best extensive information and flexibility, Booking.com are gonna do it for you. We've been able to plan so many holidays with our family, our friends, bringing love, bringing joy, bringing inspiration. Life is so precious, life is so joyful, and you always want to do things with style. You always want to do things with such confidence and drip that you don't want to miss out. When it comes to looking for amazing accommodation, hotels, whatever it is, Booking.com is the place to go. I personally experienced it, and it's all about giving value and service to people's lives. Click the link in the description. You don't want to miss out on that. And let's get back to the video.
because people kept asking me, Suzan, tell us your story. So the memoir is The Immigrant That Found Her Unapologetic Voice. It's specifically for either you're an immigrant or not. We've all migrated, Caucasian, Asian. We are all immigrants from somewhere. You know, that book is for every immigrant. You don't have to be specifically Black. We all face, issues, whether it's racial, whether it's language barrier, whether it's being misunderstood. You know, there's a lot of things we all face. So that book is for you, anyone that feels like they've migrated from somewhere to a new place. It can be found on Amazon and all other book places. Just look up Suzan Mutesi, SUZANMUTESI, Suzan Mutesi. And all social media, just Google it and just write books, and all the books will show up. And that book will encourage you, because I don't just write, but I also refer it back to you. So I ask you, what are you doing with this? What are you doing with what is in your hands? What gifts do you have? What talents do you have? Have you thought about it? I question the reader. I want you to engage in it, to think about your own journey, so you can do something better for yourself. That book was written to you. It's not for me, to you. And I pray it will encourage you. It will make you the best version of yourself. And if you have it, definitely, leave a review, share it, and things like that. Tell me how you feel about it. Recently, someone else bought it on Instagram and on Facebook. They shared a good review. She was a mom. And she goes to me, Suzan, man, you convicted me as a mother, on how I parent my children, the choices I'm making for them. Do I want them to be creative? And you challenged me. And to hear that from my mom, it was so humbling, you know. So, leave a review, but like, that book was for you. Let it encourage you. Let it, make you think about your choices. I talk about culture, spiritual, mental, physical choices, you can make, anyone can make.
Wow, powerful. So guys, the link is in the description. Everything is there. Make sure you go check it out. And even when you talk about reading, I think why reading is so powerful, and I think it's important for you, whoever was watching this story and seeing value, that when you read, this is the author's thoughts. These are words. These words are powerful. They carry a frequency, and for that to come to you and to engage with someone, I feel it's always effective, even when reading, to take notes. I never used to do that, but then I started to see, no, I have to go back and read old books. So guys, this is very important information.
It's great because we will heal together. It was therapeutical for me. We will heal together. We will learn together. We will unlearn things together. It will be so encouraging for anyone that has it.
Yeah, so you guys know where to go. Thank you for watching another episode of the Rubasha Family Podcast. We have more content on the way. And we may have to do a part 2, Shane, one time in the future, because you've been amazing. And there's still so much for us to talk about. But no, I really love this. I had so much fun being present with you, being here in this moment. We all have busy lives and doing things, but we can just sit, be in flow, be in bliss, and really, again, add value. It's all about the impact. And I can't wait. Like you just said, something you hit me when you said, I still see myself there in Hollywood doing movies and living your biggest dream. And I can't wait to see this unfold. I can't wait for us to look back at this episode and look at it and be like, you know what I'm saying? Hey, you saw me?
True.
And this episode, I'm telling you, a year from now, 2 years, however long, this is, a story. This is a testament. This is something we'll look back on.
Yeah.
Hundreds and millions of people are going to come back and see this episode, so we're making history, and to be a part of it, to see your story, I'm very excited. And
thank you for having me, and I'm so proud of you, and keep doing what you're doing, and I hope you'll get more guests out here, and this is amazing. Hopefully one day you have your own studio and somewhere in the city, and you do more and more and more. But this is great, and I'm just proud of you, and I'm glad I'm part of the journey.
Thank you. Okay, cool.
If you really enjoyed this video, make sure to click here, and I'm sure you're going to love that one.